Hey, it's Matt along with Goo. And back at Dragon Ball Z, old King Mortamor. He's coming back soon. And in all honesty, he's a pretty great unit. But he's very overshadowed by Nocturnus. So I'll tell you why he's great and maybe why he's a pretty interesting unit. Stay tuned. All right. So, uh, Old King Mortamor is a very, very good leader at increased spell power by 15%. He is the best unit that has this leadership effect in the game right now and is going to be your de facto leader unless if you have a very, very specific elemental group, which is still pretty hard to pull off for spell power. And even so, as long as other than a few things, this is a very, very great leadership effect overall. He is a boss. He is obviously a magic user. His first skill, Ice Shard, just is a range 4 crackle spell damage to an enemy. His second skill, Phantom Ice Spiel, does a very, very high amount of crackle spell damage and can occasionally put an enemy to sleep. Very, very useful double combo. The only problem is it's on the rare end, so it does slow it down just a little bit. And his last skill, his Desperation Blast, is the randomly deals bang type spell damage to enemy within range. It's 4 times. Very, very good overall skill unit. Especially if there's only one unit there, then it will do a massive amount of bang damage. And it rarely will lower spell resistance for 3 turns. Um, Mortimer's first awakening skill is huge. It increases his skill for 3 turns at the start of the turn for those 3 turns. Um, and he builds up his power incredibly quickly on top of his insane range, not range, sorry, insane magic power. It really, really adds up. This is a very powerful magical arena unit, just from a damage standpoint. Also, being able to put enemies to sleep. Uh, his limitation is his movement, so there is that. But from a power standpoint, there also his intrinsic skill is exactly the same as Sorrow's. Sorrow's and Old King Mortamor produces a bounce shield or reflect shield uh, on him. So for 3 turns, magic can't get through to him. So if you're fighting a magical team, he is very, very useful for those 3 turns overall. Second and fourth is Frizz and Sith. Sizz. It is third and fifth is MP consumption down and spell power overall increase for 5% each. His stats. His HP for a mage is fantastic, but his defense is incredibly low. His one big, big negative is the fact that, well, he just does not have any ability to really take any very powerful physical damage. And so, with his limited movement of 2, he does not have a chance to get to movement of 3. He does have that pretty big weakness. So, if there's a unit that has a nice 3 range that has very high power, Mortimer can be one shotted. His MP is 493, which is actually low for him. His spells cost 108 damage that you're going to be using the most of, so he's really only got enough power for 3 or 4 big blasts. His attack is low 262, but he does not want to be in melee range to anybody, so that's not a big deal. Agility is fine at 395, and his wisdom 450 is the highest in the game still, so very, very good overall. His preferred weapon are the Dragon Balls, the Magic Balls, whatever you want to talk. It's in his challenge. It is basically just spell power plus 4%. Absolutely wonderful. Wisdom 28. And for the skills you're going to be looking for is going to be his Ice Spear, his Despair Explosion, and Magic and or Agility. This is obviously the weapon made for him. If you do not pick or not planning on picking up Old King Mortamor, then you're just really going to be looking to pick up your Wisdom and agility for these because this is a very, very, very powerful weapon in the game. And very much worthwhile to Mortamor, but to any spell user because it has spell power +4 and a wisdom +28. His preferred learned skills: Blunt is probably the most, and I'm going to put useful in air quotes. You could also give him another elemental. I put Swish and Sizzle. The one thing he is very scared about is for Blunt is physical attack. So if you need to go kind of toe to toe, but really you're going to be using him for mostly damage. So if you want to give him another skill for another element, that's fine. Also, it's for the lower MP spell, so you could try to go through this. But Old King Mortamor is designed to come out hard, come out fast, and then basically run out of gear and run out of NP. So that's kind of his overall skill and usefulness. So, honestly, he's not as PVE useful as he is in PvP, but he still has a lot of use in PvE. But as I say, the main issue with him is that he will blow through his MP very quickly. His pros, his leadership effect is the best for any mage teams. End of story. He gets to reflect spells, as I say, for his first 3 turns. Very powerful mage with 2 different elements already in his kit, and Ice and Bang are nice elements as well. And just overall, the most powerful mage in the game right now for Wisdom. And his skills are also very, very powerful. His cons is that defense. That defense is pretty scary. He's got great HP, but the HP defense is somewhat lacking. So if an attacker gets a hold of him, it's really dangerous for Old King Mortamor with that movement as well. It's not like he's going to be able to get away. So if you've got to get up close and personal, you really want to have a selfless unit along with it to keep Mortamor safe. Will I pull? He's a fantastic unit, but boy, did Nocturnus take most of my resources that I could spend right now. He's a great unit, and I was really hoping of getting Nocturnus cheaply so that I could pull a little bit on Old King Mortamor. We'll see how much I can scrape up by the end of it. There's a few things I still got left to do, and I'm going to do it and probably go for Mortamor a little bit. Hopefully I could get him +1, but because that reduction spell MP and that increase in power really is what starts making him an insane unit overall. Demon at Arms is the other one. His leadership effect is reduces enemy attack by 5%. His stats are fairly decent, but along with demons, he's got good HP but low defense, very high attack, and good agility. Movement of 2 as well. From an overall unit, it's a fairly disappointing, but his first awakening will randomly increase attack and movement power for 1 turn for the beginning of the battle. It's random, but if it hits, he becomes actually a lot more useful. And instead of spell, it's another attack for element if you're going to use him. But overall, he is not the greatest unit for the A unit overall. His Flash Heat Slash has 55 Sizz martial damage 4 times on enemies. That's his big skill, and it is a martial. He also does, though, have Onslaught, which will increase your attack and movement power for the next turn. That is a good skill. The only problem is your attack is useless on a martial damage, so you really need to give him another very powerful attack to really use the Onslaught. It is frustrating. It would have been nice to have Konetsu Slash as the martial and Flash Heat Slash as the physical, but that's just not the case. So this is the last poll banner that I'm expecting for this series. It is the 15th. We will get it tomorrow on the 16th. So I hope you guys enjoyed all these banners. These are very, very powerful units. And good luck if you do pull. And more importantly, I hope you guys have fun, stay safe, and I will see you later. Goodbye.